Hello and welcome to Soccer Republic on what is a particularly sad evening for us after the passing of our colleague Bill O'Herlihy. Throughout the day, many heartfelt tributes have been paid to a man who, as far as broadcasting is concerned, led the way to a more investigative probing and, as a result, more entertaining approach to sports coverage on television. Bill will certainly be sadly missed.
1 minute to wear now. All right, lads, let's enjoy ourselves. Hands up.
75 years old Bernie Dunn of Cork has been playing this violin for close on 7 years.
I spend it in good company.
Lovely. And there we have it for Bill O'Herlihy. Bill, congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed. I enjoy that. Thank you.
Well done to you.
Hi, God.
Good, you know, they're stopping.
Good evening and welcome to the World Cup final of 2014.
You were making the point, John, that you thought...
The nation holds its breath. Yes, we're there!
Oh, fantastic. I said at the start, ciao Roma, buongiorno Roma. What do you think, lads? Magic.
We think it was fantastic. No, we think you're being silly. No, we think it was bloody great. And it was the best Saturday we've had for ages.
On a professional level, it's terrible news, and on a personal level, even more devastating, because he was such a very nice man.
What will happen, Irish supporters, when they get drunk and probably get messy?
They'd wind up spending the night in court, night in jail.
One of these.
Aren't you one doing to one of your own, surely? You just down to yourself, Bill.
Oh, he took his work very seriously, very seriously. I never saw him unprepared for a programme. He was very, very meticulous in his research, but he didn't take himself seriously.
87% of you believe we will win. Excuse my laughing.
Onto it comes Houghton. And Houghton with the shots, and it's there!
What do you think, John Giles? A quick, brief comment?
Excellent performance, deserved to be in front.
How long can clubs like Shelbourne continue to exist in gates as small as this?
Well, they couldn't. Talking about tactics, to what extent have your plans been damaged by the withdrawal of... The minister responsible for marine matters told the Dáil such an inquiry was not necessary.
It was the essence of decency. He loved life. He loved his job. He managed that panel like no other, and broadcasting on so many international and sporting events. He was, in so many ways, a national treasure. He was an icon of what good, genuine, comprehensive broadcasting should be, and we'll miss him greatly.
We leave it there, so okie doke. Good night and God bless.
Well, I was lucky enough to first work with Bill during Italia 90, and he was nothing but encouraging in what he would have known was a very intimidating environment for a novice, and for that he gained my instant and lasting respect. Now, I'm joined in studio by colleagues George Hamilton, Darragh Maloney and Brian Kerr. And George, we were just saying before we came to here that it really is hard to believe that we're sitting here about to discuss what we're discussing at the passing of Bill, isn't it?
He was an institution, there's no doubt about that, and one of those people that you thought would be there forever, even if he had retired after the World Cup. There was just this feeling that Bill was part of the fabric of what RTE did in television sport. And in essence, he was. That's exactly what he was. When he first came to the presenter's chair in 1978, which was my first World Cup, there were 4 television channels available in this country, 1 RTE and 3 from Northern Ireland. And it has blossomed from there, but the constant has been Bill O'Herlihy, who has been there throughout, defining what the sports presenter should be. I think it came from his current affairs background, as you said in your opening remarks, that there was something about the journalist in Bill that made him so much more than just your average television host. And if you think across all those years, all those decades, can you think of a television presenter from across the water, from the massive audience British television pond, that has had the impact, the lasting impact of Bill O'Herlihy, not only in Ireland but beyond, because the RTE panel was well known, written about in newspapers like The Guardian and so on. He was an institution, and it's terrible to think that just like that he's gone.
And you've had the great pleasure in describing some of these momentous sporting occasions. And Bill then had the great pleasure in studio of capturing the mood of the nation. Wasn't that one of his great skills?
That was one of his great skills, and we saw it just there after that amazing day in Genoa in 1990, after the draw with Romania that ended in the magnificent penalty shootout, and David O'Leary doing what he did, and Bill entering into the spirit of things, capturing the moment as only he could. But you know, there was so much more to Bill O'Herlihy, because you said it too, he gave as well as everything else. He gave to those who worked with him. He was so encouraging. And you know, I had a bit of a health problem some years ago. Bill had something similar many years ago. Bill was the first to write to me, you know, and what he said in that was, you have a choice. I'm going to quote you the words of my specialist. You have a choice. You can be a cardiac cripple, or you can go back to leading your life. Bill went back to leading his life. He filled his life to the full with everything, from the sport to through his family to his golf and all the rest. Lovely man, lovely man, and a man who knew how to live life. And it's a terrible shame that he's gone at what in this day and age is a terribly young age.
It really is. And Dara, you had the almost unenviable task when Bill announced his retirement of having to fill his boots on the Champions League, and very big broadcasting boots they were to fill. But each time he was interviewed about his retirement, he gave you credit as his successor in chief, as it were, and you were ready for the task. And that must have been very encouraging for you.
Massively so. It was something he was very conscious of, because he knew, you know, what I faced in replacing this national icon, a national treasure, I think that Taoiseach called him today. And that meant so much, and will always mean so much to me, that he took the time. People would be talking about him, you know, when it was announced that he was leaving and I would be taking on the position. He was, of course, talking about this incredible career that he had, but he'd throw this in the odd time. I think he did it again fairly recently. I didn't hear it, but I would get this feedback all the time. You know, Bill, he just, any time he'd meet you, he'd just a little quiet word in your ear, do this, do that, or that's going well, or that's not going so well. And it just meant so much that he would take that time. And, you know, there was this mention of me recently in an interview about him, and it was very special. It is very special that he would do that.
And speaking of him taking his time, he actually took his time before you actually came to RTE. He took his time when you were a student and you got to interview.
This is the first time I met him, and I just was thinking about this today when I heard this morning that he had died. In 1990, I was in college studying journalism, and this was during the World Cup. Things had gone absolutely crazy for the team and for the panel and for Bill, etc. And it was in newspapers everywhere, and there were feature articles on them. And we were given an assignment to write about one of your heroes. So I decided that I would interview Bill O'Herlihy. Chancing my arm, I picked up the phone and rang his office and was put through to him. And to his incredible credit, like, I was just a nobody, a Joe Soap who rang up, can I interview you? A student, first-year journalism student in college, brought me into his office, set up the appointment. We did the interview, gave me an hour of his time. I think there was a match on later that day. It was the morning time. And in the middle of the interview, my tape recorder collapsed. I hadn't checked the batteries. And I fell to pieces. And he kind of put me back together again. Even then, he didn't know me, but just gave me this time, got the tape recorder working again for me, because I hadn't a clue. I still don't have a clue how to work those things. But it was just a very special time. And I still have the article I wrote on him at home. And look, they're very treasured memories.
Yeah, and he certainly was very encouraging to all of us on the way up. And Brian, I suppose one of Bill's his great strength was his inquisitive nature, and that's a gift for any interviewer, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, I was fortunate to get the chance to work with him on some of the earliest Premiership shows around 1998. And I was, you know, very much, as Dara's talking about, a rookie coming on live television. And I needed that guidance and comforting hand coming across with some information, little bits of advice. But what I found about him was that, first of all, he was brilliantly informed on the football, which was the subject at hand. While he was very inquisitive, he was also very opinionated. And in among that, there was a total respect of your opinion, which was really comforting when you were coming on that type of show. Yeah. But what I think about him mostly is, maybe after the show, he'd give you an opinion about a team or a player or a manager. And when you disagreed with it, you got the heartiest laugh you could imagine, which was along the lines of, "Am I a stupid git giving you that opinion?" But yet his opinion was probably very accurate underneath it all. But that was just his way, that he made you feel like you were the expert. But really, he had so much knowledge across a range of subjects. He was brilliant, brilliant man. There's been so many lovely tributes, and what Eamon said was precisely accurate about it. He's a lovely, lovely man in so many ways.
He was also confident enough in himself to not be afraid to ask, as he always termed it, the silly question, but it always led to some vigorous studio debate, didn't it?
Of course, and you know, that was part of the art of his work, that he set it up like that he set up a situation where there was going to be debate and controversy and not just agreement. And he knew that. He knew that the tone of the question would set that up, and he wasn't afraid of that. And that's why it made for such brilliant television for so many years. I'm just delighted I was here for that celebration of his retirement night, which was absolutely fantastic night after World Cup final. Hard to believe it's less than a year ago and he's gone.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Brian is staying with us and we'll be joined by Alan for the rest of Soccer Republic. So for now, my thanks to George and to Dara for being with us and sharing their memories and thoughts about Bill on this evening. And right now we'd like to extend our sincere condolences to Hilary, Sally and Jill on this dreadfully sad day.